idea to have this available to you guys in the event that you missed the class or whatever. So we're going to talk about basic anatomy and how it relates. We'll do human anatomy, and then I'll also maybe towards the end do a little bit of how that anatomy, that similar anatomy, can actually be adapted to creature design or animal kind of anatomy. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're in Photoshop. So I want to talk today about, gosh, where are we here? 1 second, Photoshop. Okay, so in Photoshop here, we have a little stick figure. So you'll find that in the animation program, we will be working with a lot of stick figures. Well, not stick figures per se, but at least simple shaped figures. And I believe you probably have already had my lesson about why we do that with thumbnails and whatnot. So here I have adding muscle shapes to a stick figure. Now, keep in mind too that stick figures will come in, different sizes and shapes. So maybe this one is just a really kind of wide, boxy stick figure with little short legs, and definitely always has an eye line, that sort of thing. So no matter what the proportion of the character that you're going to design for this semester, the same musculature will definitely apply. So I'm going to go ahead and now clean up. Oh, we'll start from fresh. So I'll get rid of this. And let's talk about things. So we know that in the head, the human head, I'll just write this down too, there is always an eye line, and with character design, that eye line is not at the equator. It's not at the halfway point. It is actually lower. It's down here. So the head, remember cranial sphere? This is only the cranium. This does not include your jawline. So this is our north-south pole. Let's just say if our spine continued straight up through the top of our brain, the center of that ball. And there's the equator, so our eye line would be around here. And it's okay to do really rough, scribbly stuff. So halfway is that basically down your nose, straight down the center of your nose. So you've got your head. Now in the, if you further subdivide this, actually maybe I'll work on the small one. You further subdivide this so that it's 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 4 quarters basically makes this whole width, right? This is the halfway point, quarter point, quarter point. So if you follow straight down, sorry, this should be more specifically straight down to the side and here to the side. So divide that. I'm already making errors. All right, so straight down at that quarter point. That is in general where eyes go, on that eye line. With creature design, the eye line actually does tend to be on the equator. So with creature design, I mean, heck, you can even have, like, some predators have eyes way up here, like the ones that sit in water, like alligators, right? Or down here, they could have their eyes really close together or really wide apart. With human characters that have appeal that we can relate to, this formula is pretty much standard. All right, so predator at the equator. Generally, I mean, you could have a predator with really cute cranial mass. So if you have this cranium, you could put the eyes way down here. It really just depends on your creature design, right? So maybe they have a huge jawline, and I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that thought. All right, so carrying on with anatomy, we've got our cranial mass. That is standard. That is the front view. From the side view, and of course, this is going to vary for creatures. So experiment with different, snout shapes or beaks, or just all kinds of, maybe it's a human-esque with lower jaw. Like, experiment with creature design. You'll have so much more fun actually with creature design than humans. Are pretty standard, aside from shape variation and whatnot. Okay, so I was doing the side view of a human. And notice how loosely I do draw my character circles. That is 100% okay to do that. keeping loose and sketchy. So there's the eye line, and we'll just sort of park the eye there. So then there's going to be at the equator, the eyebrows. And the eyebrows actually are curved because they kind of wrap around to the side of the head. It means that from the side view, you're going to get kind of this look for your character's eyes. So let me draw in an ear. Ears, so ears, they basically go from the eye line area and then down to like the bottom of the nose. Nose sits here. So let me draw in the ear on here. And actually, when we do our character rotations, which is next week's lesson, right, everything is going to align as when you see the front view and the side view of a character. When it rotates, things are going to align on that horizontal kind of line. But again, we'll talk about that more next week. All right, so jawline. The jawline basically comes from the ear area and the side of the face, the eye, and it is generally not any taller, and of course, again, shape variation, generally not any taller than from the eye to the top of the head, kind of in this area here, right? A nose, a mouth. So the mouth generally is also not wider than where the eyes are. Now again, shape variation, which we will play with, or you will play with, that's going to change, because we did already discuss that, you know, you can have characters with these giant lower jaws, and maybe the eyes are really close together. Maybe they have like huge noses and really wide smiles. So there will always be sort of variation to what I'm talking about. However, the basics are there. The jawline is there, the ears are there, the nose, and so on and so forth. But in general, just sort of standard human, kind of is like this. The whole lower part of the face does generally tend to stick out a little bit more. And again, I want to basically draw straight across, kind of like this. And then you would add the nose, sort of in the bottom of the cranial mass sphere is sort of where the nose ends. Again, noses can vary as well. They can be upturned, they can be downturned, they can be giant, like this. Like, it really just varies. And then of course the mouth is back in here. So mouth, basically from the side, it has lips, kind of like that. So that's kind of a mouth. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So we've got some shape variation. I should also post a bunch of my old scribbles. And for those of you who have had me for character design, you probably have a much better handle on anatomy and basic sort of human construction than some of the others. So this is more for people that really just aren't comfortable drawing characters yet. All right, so we talked about the head, and I think I'm going to pause the video for a moment. I don't think, I want to keep these short, so I want to go in sections. Maybe I will add a neck though. So from the front view, the neck, if you follow the ears down like this, you'll get a decent kind of neck. So I just did a loop-de-loop. I'll draw this in a different color here so you can see. So there's the ear. I started the earlobe, I ran around the ear, drew through, because it's in behind and hidden by the jawline. And in general, that'll get you a good cylinder structure for your neck. Now, again, variation will exist if you want like a pencil neck, sort of really skinny neck, or if you want like a really fat neck, that's also going to change. It's really up to you to decide. So what's going on from the side view is that generally that neck is on a tilt. It's roughly 45 degrees from horizontal, right? So this is 90 degrees, this is 0 degrees. So it's about 45 degrees. And from there, you take it into the sort of rib cage box area. So that is the neck. There are other things with the neck. There is musculature. This particular weird muscle connects to a collarbone, so the clavicle, and it is called the clavomastoid muscle. And from the front view, it would look, I'm going to zoom in again a little bit here. I'll draw it in a different color again, just so you can see. And then I'm going to end this video so that you can have it in part series. So basically that sternocleidomastoid muscle is in behind your jawline, and it tucks in and connects behind your ear. And that's up top. So you can't see it there. And it also connects to your clavicle, which is your collarbone. Kind of like that. And the collarbones extend over to the shoulders. So now we'll get into the torso. So from the side view, your character would look kind of like this, but then if you actually were to flush it out, there's a throat area here, possibly an Adam's apple. But yeah, so from a more simplified shape, your character could probably just look like this when you're animating them, keeping it fast, right? So that's the neck. Sternocleidomastoid is part of that. Okay, I'm going to end this one and we'll start a new video. So we're going to start into the torso. We talked about the head. The head. And just as a recap, cranial mass. I'll do a front view and a side view. Cranial mass, this is the side view here. And 1/4 of the way up from the bottom of this cranial mass is an eye line in both the front and the side view. The side view has an ear. We won't worry about how long that is just at this very second. The front view has ears as well, both sides. And about 1/4 of the way in on both sides is an eye. And then the eyebrows are roughly at the equator of this sphere. So keep going here. We'll draw in a jawline. It generally just tends to be like a V shape that kind of squares out. Also maybe a heart shape. It could be, you know, a boxy shape like this. You're going to get a nose, which is in general at the bottom of that cranial sphere. And then you get a mouth halfway between the nose and the bottom of the chin. Again, variation exists. And then from the side, oh yes, we didn't draw in our neck. So I just kind of go like this. And eyeline. So if you can master these very, very kind of basic drawings fairly quickly, and understand that when your character is in action, that there's always going to be that sort of center line along the face. There's also going to be a side line. So on this example, the side line is this line here, right? So you would add it in a 3/4 view to your cranial sphere, your eye line. And so, of course, knowing spheres can change sort of upshot. People can turn their heads. They can like look up. They can look down. This one's looking up. This one's kind of looking down. You can then start to actually build your character up in terms of drawing, you know, their faces from different angles. Oops, from different angles. Just trying to draw that. So this would be a little bit of the bottom of that jawline. The ear would be down, would be lowered. The eyes, you know, even the eyebrows would appear to be a little bit higher now. All the ears are lower. It'd be the upshot of a nose. Try to think of shapes. So it's not just could be like a wedge shape that just kind of looks like a triangle from the front view and even from the side view. But then what does that triangle look like as a 3D shape? It literally juts off of your face. So you would maybe see the underneath part of that triangle in this angle. And then conversely, you might actually see this kind of a wedge shape on that if the character is looking downwards, kind of thing. So it really just depends on the angle. But basically that's it in a nutshell. Now, learning how to draw, you know, mouth positions at different angles and all of that. So much more learning to do on that. You'd really need another crash course. Maybe I'll address those details as they come up. So this one being a 3/4 mouth, this one being basically an M, and then 2 C shapes, and then you just kind of connect in there. So that's like the front view of the mouth, that's the 3/4, and then the side view again is like this kind of thing. It's like basically a V shape on its side. All right, so now we're going to move on to the torso. I guess I needed to do a little bit more details of the head. Also, Pinterest is a great resource. You can follow me on Pinterest. I'm gonna just go to my Pinterest page for a second on the internet. Hopefully you can see that. So my Pinterest, okay, let me move this. My Pinterest page, B Schultz. So I guess it's at Birgit __Schultz.